So this is kind of like a preview podcast, really. We figured we're basically you're not going to be able to see this, but we're at Ben's right now. We've just been watching. Yeah, hang on. I don't even know why I've moved the camera because you're not even going to be able to see this. But Ben's just risen to kind of Foster's. He's just like trying to show he's living the big time, aren't you?
Ready for Barnsley tomorrow.
I know, just like getting up early ridiculously tomorrow morning.
Getting up early to watch potentially Brendan Galloway and Billy Jones. I couldn't be sweeter, could it?
Yeah, exciting thoughts, right, guys? Yeah, watch them just get torn to shreds by whoever Barnsley. Who's Barnsley's wingers?
Exactly.
It's just poor knowledge on our part, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We don't even know who Barnsley's wingers are in this league.
That's the championship all over that.
To be fair, though, I looked at we've just finished watching the Bristol City. Well, at the time of recording, we've just finished watching the Bristol City Villa game, and we watched like the final table afterwards. Obviously, as far as this early stage in the season goes, and Barnsley could go above us if they win tomorrow. Imagine that being below Barnsley.
That's not great.
It's not an
It's
option.
only 5 games though, so
It's not an option. We can't lose tomorrow, especially going into an international break. Can't lose.
You heard that, Sunderland players? If any of you are listening to this, you can't do it because Ben says you can't. What Ben says is law, right?
Correct.
Exactly. That's like going. You sound more intimidating than that, man.
I hope Simon Grayson sounds intimidating in the changing room tomorrow. When we're 2-0 down at half time. Because we all know what's going to happen, don't it?
And then we'll just think we're going to win 3-2, and then we end up getting back to 2-2, dreams on, and then we'll lose 3-2 in the last minute.
When I go away, that happens. So yeah.
Well, we always do. We never do well when we're away, do we? No, we just figured, guys. Well, we've gone a bit of a tangent here. We just figured while we're all together, just probably talk and put something of a podcast on YouTube. So, but we do have a purpose. So one of the things we are going to talk about is Grayson's comments. So. As you probably like the go-to guy for the media and the press and the quotes and everything. What did Grayson say?
I really just touched upon that. There's a lot of better players become available for transfer now. He just kept reiterating the fact that all clubs are going to be in the same boat. You don't know who's going to leave. He expects ends. He expects players to depart as well. Obviously, he didn't turn down the fact that Kazri and Don Cooney could all leave. And he didn't, in terms of the players linked, he didn't really say who they were. He just said, in case a player did leave, then a replacement would be lined up straight away for them.
Well, he's playing his cards close to his chest, then, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which I don't disagree with because
I think come next Thursday, there'll be potentially it could be 4 or 5 in, 4 or 5 out.
Do you two think we'll have at least one player in before next Thursday?
Yeah, I think we'll have at least 3.
At least 3. That's optimistic. That's optimistic.
That's only because I think 3 are going to go.
And are those 3 Coney, Kazri, and Dom?
Kazri and Coney, definitely. Well, actually, Kazri.
No, see, Coney, I'm a bit iffy on.
Sure.
Kazri, I think will go.
And Dom,
I'm not so sure about.
Kazri's the definite, but Coney and Dom.
Yeah, I agree. Kazri's definite.
Coney and Dom 50-50.
I think Cornier is more 75 and I'll have Endon at 50% as well. Just because it's so late that the interest's peaked in Endon.
I'll tell you what wouldn't surprise me. Again, guys, so if you're listening to this after the Saturday results, I apologise, but if West Ham get a poor result at Newcastle, because they're the ones who've been credited with an interest in Dong, although was it French clubs apparently interested in Dong?
Yeah, I think it's Lyon who won it.
Yeah, but West Ham would probably be the one that would be able. But if West Ham were interested in him, as reported earlier, I mean, we've heard mixed reports about it, but if they were interested in him and they get a poor result at St James's, then they'll become desperate, won't they?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's the same thing with like any of our players, because they'll look at. It's one of the. See, I mean, on Kazri is an example where I'm probably the only person thinking this, but I think there's a chance. Say, I don't know, if Brighton lose to Watford, for instance, I can see them putting a bid in for Kazri.
Yeah. I think people will become desperate towards the 31st of August when they'll start throwing around silly money, as we've already saw this transfer market.
Well, we've done that ourselves, haven't we?
Sunderland have to take advantage of that. They've got to ultimately get the highest bid possible and not take the first bid we get. Like you said in the podcast earlier this week, I believe that Sunderland need to be quite savvy with the negotiations, especially if we're losing the types of Cornier and then Ndong, who are pivotal players in our team. And, then we need to reinvest that wisely. But it all becomes the fact of how much we'll short let go of the money he's brought in.
Yeah.
That's the big question.
We're desperate for a forward, aren't we? Absolutely desperate now.
Well, that kind of leads on to the next point where one of the targets, I mean, I think we talked about Robert Snodgrass in the podcast earlier this week, where obviously that's not going to happen anymore because he's gone to Villa Park.
By judging that, they need him.
to be fair, he will improve them.
Yeah,
He'll definitely improve them as a
good
team.
player.
I'd be very surprised if Villa aren't at least challenging playoffs later in the season. But I mean, that is disappointing, isn't it? Though. I mean, that was a play we were. I mean, to be fair, Snodgrass I'd forgotten until Villa were playing that he's worked with Steve Bruce before. So, and you got to remember, I mean, I don't know, Villa or Sunderland out of the two of them, which is a bigger attraction. But to be fair, Villa probably just moved faster for him and just got him first. So
they've got bigger finances, haven't they?
I'd probably say if Villa's had a season to settle their finances, though, haven't they? They did what Sunderland are doing now last season. They didn't really bring a massive amount of players in, and that's why they couldn't compete with Newcastle in the Championship last season. Maybe Sunderland fans just need to be patient.
They used to touched upon, like you've been saying all pre-season. It probably, if we're going to go up, it will be the second or third season.
Probably. I still think our aim should be to go up this year, but it wouldn't surprise me if this year was, especially after last season, stabilisation. I know that word is branded about a lot, but it is technically stabilisation this season. Help try and get rid of the debt, or significantly help to get rid of it. Then I don't know. Sorry, we were trying to look at some stats there, but it was flashed too quickly for us to really analyse them.
That is an awful suit.
It was a very
Which suit are you talking about? So you guys basically were watching like the post-match analysis of Bristol City Aston Villa. Is it that one, Lee Hendry? Who's got like a grey suit on with a white shirt and a blue tie.
I think Sky Sports need to get better presenters' suits, don't they?
Didn't one just get sacked from them though recently?
The presenter?
No, there was someone worked for Sky Sports. Oh yeah, I imagine how intended. No, it was something. It was involving a court case actually. It was something to do with I don't know. It might have just been me. I thought it was him like doing something to do with abusing his girlfriend or whatever.
The ground's shaking now. Bruce is out of the picture.
I'll tell you what, to be fair, he has lost weight, hasn't he?
Yeah. Anyway, back to the podcast.
Yeah, we're rambling on again.
Steve Bruce's weight. It's not the topic here. It's Sunderland signing Ross McCormack.
To be fair, this could be relevant. Steve Bruce could be slacking Sunderland off because he's pretty much done that almost every chance he's got since he's left.
And he's not the only one.
And if Steve Bruce gets sacked early before the transfer window,
Ross McCormack might stay. Yeah, good point.
Sunderland, right on that note, Sunderland, get McCormack signed. Just get him through the door by whatever means necessary.
But he's not fit though, is he?
So he'll fit into Sunderland right well then.
Yeah.
He'll fit in very well, yeah.
Well, then again, we've got the international break to come.
That is true, but then again, couldn't McCormack get called up for Scotland? Or is it Scotland?
He's not going to get called up for Scotland if he's injured. Or if he's not fit.
Don't know how much he's been training though, do we?
We don't know what Scotland...
he's played in pre-season.
I mean, to be fair, like, with McCormack, I mean, I would imagine the one good thing that could come out of Snodgrass going to Villa is that could speed up, I mean, people have said this on Twitter, it could speed up McCormack to Sunderland though, couldn't it?
See, I'm not saying McCormack's a good sign or a bad sign. I haven't really seen enough of him play, but what years is a goal scorer?
But he'll be the best striker that what we've got though, isn't he?
That's the thing. That's why I'm not complaining, because he's much better than what we've got.
You know,
I'm not judging him on Villa last year. I'm not going to judge him at all until he's played 10, 15 games of red and white shirt. But like Michael said, he's a lot better than everything we've got.
You look at our attacking options. We've got Graben, who has been quite lively. He's got goals.
Yeah, definitely.
Then we've got Vaughan,
who's James Vaughan.
James Vaughan. He's got the effort.
No question.
I've spoke to a lot of Sunderland fans this week, and they're always saying, yes, he's got the effort, he does a lot for the team, but ultimately you're there to score goals.
That's a striker's job.
But to be fair though,
hopefully he gets that one. And
don't get me wrong, I'm not writing Vaughan off by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's like 4 or 5 games is far too, whichever games is too early to. But when we signed him, given the money we signed him for, 500k, do either of you really expect Vaughan to hit like double figures in goals?
Honestly, no, probably not. But the fact that he scored, I know it's League One, but like 24 goals in 37 games is very, very good.
But I've said to you before, I mean, I know maybe not the bottom end of the Championship, but certainly the difference between teams in League One and the top half of the Championship is a country distance apart.
Well, I was expecting when Vaughan came in for him to be our third choice striker.
If McCormack comes in, he may very well be.
I didn't expect him to be in the first 11.
I don't think he probably would have done either, to be fair. You know, there's a chance, I think, I mean, if McCormack comes in, it depends what formation you go with as well. If you play one up front, then it'll be McCormack.
I'd keep it the same.
You know,
like 4-4-2 or 4-2-3.
If you're going to do that, then it's McCormack and Graben, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So
we're talking on this.
What could be played?
Moving on to that, what do you think? We'll go through this. Who would your first 11 be tomorrow?
I will look so stupid if this doesn't get uploaded until like Saturday, like on the day. In case you're watching this listening to this on a Saturday today, so what? Barnsley starting 11?
Yeah.
You mean what ours would be?
I'll go for mine. You have a think.
Well, you two are better equipped to say it based on what people have said at Carlisle. apparently he was outstanding.
Is
So
this who you want? Who you think Grayson will pick?
Not who you want.
Right, mine would be Rutia, Jones, Corney, Browning, Oviedo, Honeyman, Catamore, and Dong McGeady. Grabbing. And because it's before the international break, I'm going to say Vaughan, because obviously we've got no one else. I know people say Gooch, but it's only, for me, I'm probably the minority here. It's one game where Gooch has played well.
Yeah.
If Gooch does it against Barnsley, Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest, then fair enough, then he deserves to start there. But that's only one game. To be fair, Honeyman's done it over 4 or 5 now, and he deserves to keep his place. But I'll play Vaughan tomorrow, and I'll take the Vaughan, you need to start doing more than what you currently are, or else your position isn't a threat.
to be fair though, I do think that Gooch would be on the bench. I'd be pretty surprised if he isn't.
I'll bring him on.
But but Vaughan could come into it away from home, though, couldn't he? I honestly, because you remember there are going to be times where we're going to be desperately clear. I mean, knowing Sunderland always happens, but we are going to be times where we're going to desperately clear. Barnsley are going to be. I'll be very surprised if Barnsley aren't up for it. I'll be extremely shocked that they'll give us a game, I think. So I think if you're going to clear the ball out, Vaughan's a good outlet to have because the ball could bounce off his head and he could try and do the ugly things and allow Graben to, run in behind the foot of the defenders. That's what happened for the first goal at Norwich. Remember that? The ball was, I think, what was it? Who was it? Jason Steele, I think, did a Jordan Pickford. He tried to emulate him. Do a goal kick. Vaughan wins the header. Graben runs through, scores.
Like you say, you're just not confident with clean sheet with Steele.
No, I'm
not. No,
definitely. I'm much more confident with Ryder.
See, I can't remember what I went tomorrow. I think I said 2-0. But I just.
Are you going to change that prediction or base it depending on who's in goal?
Possibly,
if Reuter's in goal, I
think Sunderland will win regardless. But
when was the last time we said Sunderland will win and they actually won? For once.
Norwich, I thought would win at Norwich.
I didn't.
Did you? I thought we'd either get beat or get a point at best, but still.
I thought we'd win at Norwich.
The last time we won and we did win was Crystal Palace away.
That game was mental, that.
I didn't say 4-0, but
yeah. Sure you did. Do you not just go and put it on the bookies?
Yeah.
What I would say is, I think if it was my team, I'd pretty much the same goalkeeper and back four that you've had. In fact, probably more or less the same team. I can't think of anyone I would change. But I just don't think that Grayson will start with Reuter. I think he'll go with Steele. Personally,
more than likely.
But but to be fair, we might not know if Reuter's fully match fit. We don't know if he's going to have enough minutes in him. I mean, I'd imagine he'd been training while he hasn't had a club. He must be having some, but getting minutes on Tuesday would have done him the world of good, though, wouldn't it? Must have done.
I think for goalkeepers, it takes a lot less to get fit, though, doesn't it? You would think.
Funny enough, their training is actually harder than the players' training, like fitness-wise. But I agree with Ben. Obviously, there's a lot less fitness required during a game. Of course it is, but mentally.
To be fair, there's probably a lot more fitness when you're a Sunderland goalkeeper, though, because you're always kept busy every 5 minutes. We always given much to do. Well, I mean, how confident are you two for Barnsley?
We'll win.
I'm semi-confident. I think we'll win, but I think we'll also concede.
Is this also a bad sign, though, for confident or semi-confident?
See, if I wasn't going tomorrow, I'd say Sunderland will win 100%. Because I am going tomorrow, it puts it to 50-50, doesn't it?
Well, we still haven't seen us win away in a league game yet, have we?
Hey, don't take the joy away. I seen me first away win Tuesday.
Oh no, just saying.
At Carlisle.
Do you know? I'm not trying to do this. Not reverse psychology. This at all. To be fair, I mean Ben's team is fair share. You saw the 4-0 at Palace.
I was at Barnsley 10 years ago when we beat them 2-0.
You're at Norwich in the Premier League when we beat them 3-0 with Allardyce. So you've seen a fair few clean sheets and wins. We haven't seen that yet.
I think what interests me is beyond Barnsley. To be honest. Yeah, we touched upon a minute ago with Grayson, when you were saying who's going to come in, who's going to leave. Like I said, I think come next Thursday, very, very interesting. Could be completely different side come Sheffield United or whoever the next home game is. I think it's going to be very.
I'll tell you what, in fairness, that's probably going to be my day sorted on Thursday. Just apart from when I have to walk the dog, just plunk my arse on the sofa. Deadline day on. Just imagine watching Jim White in his little yellow tie.
I think I'm going to be a bit disappointed. I think we'll be left short. I think there'll be more outgoings than incomings. I do think that Endong and Kasri will go.
If they go,
I think Corney is the big one for me. No, I've just thought about it.
If Corney plays like he has played, you know what it is? It's stupid. Corney's tried this season. He has tried. I'm not going to question his desire this season because he has tried. But in terms of ability, I think his ability is went off this season in comparison to 2 years ago with Allardyce.
I can sort of see where you're coming from, but I still think
he had to take that extra touch all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas he just get it away. It's like
To be fair, it might just be, well, I might be talking bullshit here, but it might
I
just
think
be,
I think
it might be a confidence thing with Coney.
whoever we let go, we will replace. I think.
So even if we replace like Ndong with like 1 hour on deadline day to go,
I'm not so confident I would replace them.
I can see why you say that of past experience, but I think this time I can't, because the way Grayson's talked, it sounds like we've got players lined up left, right,
to be fair, right, I was listening to Total Sport earlier in the week, and I'm sure Grayson said that they were working on deals. I mean, like, I would imagine it could be potential deals in case players go, or it's targets they've had in place for a while and they're going for it regardless of finances, but it just dictates on what happens over the next week or so. I mean, if Ndong goes, for me, that's a massive blow to us.
If Ndong goes, I will look to get a young playmaker in from another Championship club.
Yeah.
I know that lad from Brentford's been linked. I don't know who it is. I don't really know much about
it. I apologise for us, guys. We really don't know the names of half these players, but for me, obviously, this is my first experience of the Championship.
We've been used to watching the Premier League for the last 10 years, haven't we?
Used to watching shite in the Premier League.
Okay, boys.
Yeah, boys. O'Neill, like, Advocat. Pretty much every manager, apart from maybe Point and Allardyce, I think.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it's just been crap.
I'd like to see us have a go tomorrow. Get 3 points.
Just think,
if we have a positive end of the window.
I'd like to see us make a statement tomorrow.
Yeah,
keeping a clean sheet would be a statement.
Don't get me.
This is where I'm different to used to. Our win's a win at the end of the day. 1-0, 2-1.
I know what you mean, but it would be nice to be in a very comfortable position at half time, for example.
Yeah.
And watch us not try our absolute hardest to blow it. I just think, I said back to the point I made earlier, if Ndong goes, I would be gutted, because I think it baffles me how there's people that don't rate him. I don't mean he's not going to be an attacking midfielder or get goals or assists, but he's going to do the legwork in the middle of the park. He's going to press and tackle and get the ball. Yeah, he'll give it away occasionally, but I think that comes with age.
The only piece of quality at Carlisle on Tuesday was his passing to Gooch.
Yeah, Kevin Charlton, if you're watching this, I do not know why you don't rate Ndong. You're mental.
Shout out.
But,
shout out.
I completely agree with what he says. He does give the ball away literally all the time.
But he is crucial to our team, though,
There's
isn't
a point in the night, I don't know if you watched at Carlisle, Carlisle the ball, the pass was going through to the striker, and Ndong intercepts it. He gives it away. He works his socks off. He wins it back, and he give it away again. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But
it is questionable, that, but he is crucial to our team, though, isn't he?
His energy,
I think he does more positive than negative.
Yeah.
I mean, can you name me a midfielder in our team other than Ndong that has legs?
He's the one player who offers you that in Sunderland's team.
So, I mean, as much as I love Catamol's like attitude and application, he doesn't offer that.
I mean,
Gibson and Rodwell, they don't offer it. McNair probably won't offer it.
That's who I'm looking forward to coming back.
Who?
McNair.
McNair, I think, will have a big part.
I can't wait for Rodwell to come back, as I've said it like 1,000 times, but
Manager as well.
With McNair, like you say,
yeah.
You were at Loftus Road last year when we keep you on. McNair had a really good game, you said, didn't you?
McNair.
And to be fair, that is against Championship opposition.
Exactly,
that's our level now. We're in the Championship.
Well, that night, McNair and Watmore were levels above.
Like I say, I sound like a bloody broken record, but if you get
McCormack
and Watmore in and McNair back, who knows? But Snodgrass for me, missing out on him was a massive, massive blow. I do rate him, especially for this division.
Well, I'll tell you what, that leads on to the next point, because I kind of want to talk a little bit about the finances of the club. I mean, we obviously don't, we're not going to pretend we know what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know what goes on in the scenes. We're just trying to give our reading on it. What I would want to say is, as far as finances goes, it is quite depressing, isn't it, that we can't, that you see a lot of other clubs. I mean, you look at West Ham talking about Carvalho, 40 million. Well, with all due respect, as much as West Ham have improved, it's still West Ham.
Yeah.
They're still a mid-table Premier League team, and yet we can't even afford bloody Snodgrass on loan, can we?
No, we are absolutely skint. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I mean,
I think it's worse than what we think.
Like I said,
it may well be at this rate.
The club isn't in revitalisation; it's in stabilisation.
That's
so from a business aspect,
that's probably why we've got Grayson.
I can't see why people say Grayson won't bring us up because he's just here to stabilise me.
I mean,
to be fair though, that might be what we need.
Working in the industry of what I have in the last year, I believe definitely this year is stabilisation. Like I say, the main aim is not to get promoted. It's to sort the finances out. From the hierarchy of the club,
I can see where he's coming from.
I don't think if Short and Bain are sitting there, right, they're not talking about promotion. They can't be.
But this is
in my aspect.
I take on board what you're saying, but the counter argument I'd say to this is the best way. Sunderland need money to clear the debt. You're not going to get any money by sitting and lounging in the Championship. The best way you're going to get the money is get promoted to the Premier League. Now, I understand you don't want to blowing loads of money hasn't worked. And a lot of Sunderland fans will know that we've blown a lot of money in the past. You look at 12 million on Fletcher, whatever people think of him, 10 million on Rodwell, Christ, 8 million on Dillabudgie, even worse. That hasn't worked. That's like over, what was it, nearly 30 million we're talking about here on those 3 players alone, and it hasn't worked. So
I think you're right. Actually, the way I see it, Ben, I agree with you both. Actually, like Dillabudgie, I can't get his performance out of my head. No, I think, like Ben said, Grayson was brought in to steady the ship. I think Bain's target is promotion. But at the same time, I do think he knows it's going to be very hard this season. I think Bain is sort of probably thinking, yes, promotion is the target, but realistically, that probably isn't going to happen. So they'll brought Grayson just to steady the ship. But that is the target, but I don't think they see it as a genuine one.
But they can't say that they're going to be happy. Oh, I'll tell you what, we're not in for promotion. We're just happy sitting mid-table championship.
I think that's what they want.
I don't think they're happy doing that by any stretch of the imagination. But that's a realistic target, and we need to start setting Sunderland realistic targets.
But at the same time, by not getting promoted for the season, Sunderland are going to lose more money down the line by not being in the Premier League.
But the gamble is, Michael, that Newcastle, yes, they spent. How much did they spend last year?
It was like 50 or something, 50, 60 million.
And they just went up. So that's
to be fair, they went up fairly comfortably. No, the league title, yeah, but they got promoted. No one was ever really going to challenge. Huddersfield did for a bit. But
this league isn't great, and 1 or 2 signings can make a massive difference.
But let's the counter argument right then is: did Brighton spend much last year? Did Huddersfield spend much last year?
I think Huddersfield spent 4 million and Brighton spent 7.
And the one argument I would say, because I can see Ben making this argument, where Brighton's promotion has been coming for years and years and years. They've built and built and built towards it. But Huddersfield, remember, finished 19th the year before they got promoted.
But there's always one freak, though, isn't there?
That could be us. Who knows?
Could be, yes.
You'd hope so.
But that's my argument.
Yeah. The freak is, how the hell is Dillabudgie a footballer? That's our freak.
You can tell, guys, Pete loves Dillabudgie. #1 fan here. But seriously, though, I think to be honest, I don't think it's much of a risk giving Grayson money to bring Snodgrass and McCormack on loan. At best, that's probably going to cost you, 5 million maybe less than that in loan fees? That's not really a massive risk. And both of them would make a huge difference at this level. Those 2 would propel us into the playoffs, at least on their own, I think.
But you've got to remember, when Sunderland released the financial statement last year, that they were paying, I think it was 20% worth of interest on a loan from the USA.
They used to,
that's been going on for 4 years. That's where the money's gone.
If Sunderland, this is looking right in the bigger picture, but if Sunderland did get promoted, and well, obviously into the Premier League, I tell you what, I don't think
I'd be worried about next season.
I don't think there'll be another club in Premier League history who would have to do as much as what we need to do. Like all of our players, the majority of our players, bar 2, I think, have been loan signings. Do you know what I mean? And then the ones who are all coming back don't want to be here anyway.
I'm not being
11 new signings.
I'm not being pessimistic, but I think Sunderland will be stuck in the Championship just because of the state we're in. And I see other clubs progressing, and I see us standing still. And I think yes, we need to stand still for now. We need to just stabilise, but other teams are taking over us.
See, I think Grayson could.
To be fair, I don't think Ben's being pessimistic. I can see what he's saying. Go on, sorry, Pete. Go on.
I think Grayson could be I can see why people say, "Oh, Grayson won't get promoted to the Premier League because he's never done it in the Championship," and that's fair enough. I get that. I could see why he would be the man as well, because he gets the working class area. He understands what this club's all about. He understands that he wants to get the fans back on side, the way he wants the team to play. But at the same time, if I was making a prediction for the future, I could see Sunderland become a solid Championship side, but us not being able to go up. So Grayson ended up losing his job, and then third or fourth year we get someone else who takes it to the next level. So as Moyes was supposedly meant to do from Allardyce, supposedly. But you know what I mean? That's what I could see happening here. But I wouldn't be surprised if Grayson did get Sunderland promoted, because I think he does get the club.
I think Sunderland's a 3-year job at the moment. You need 1 year to stabilise. You need the second year to get the players in. Then the third year will be the ultimate test.
To be fair, if you get, to be fair, if you promote, you've got 3 years of parachute payments, haven't you? The only problem is they go rapidly down.
15 million or something.
Was it this year? I think it's 40, but I think we get that. Do we get that in stages throughout the course of the season?
I might be wrong, but I'm positive. The bottom Premier League club.
Well, me and Pete certainly are finance experts. I think Ben might be because he works in marketing. So
I'm sure we got 90 million for finishing bottom, and Newcastle got 15 million for winning the Championship.
And you know for a fact we're not going to win the league.
Oh, not a chance.
Not a chance. Probably not even.
We might win the 12th.
Barring some freakishly good moves in the transfer market, we ain't going to get near the top 2.
Well, I think what could happen is that Sunderland sell Ndong, Corney and Kasri for a combined 40 million. When you're thinking about it,
That's generous.
I don't
Knowing
think it is.
knowing Sunderland's
I
selling
don't think
history.
it is because
No,
I'd say
I
30.
agree. That's the sort of sum we should be aiming to have for all three of them. But knowing us, we're probably going to sell like
Because I
20
think you
mil
you
combined.
could get rid of Ndong for best of 15 to 20
Well,
million.
To be fair, though, he is a young player, isn't
So
he?
what do
Yeah,
you think of this? I think Ndong's worth about 15 million, 1.5, right? I think Coney's worth 10, and I think Kasri is worth 8. I don't know what you think.
What, so you're talking 33 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By pizza. Yeah, it's 15,
Yeah.
10, 8.
What
yeah.
did you say, 40?
That's not far off to be. But then,
33, 40 million.
but to be fair though, I mean, Ndong I could see us getting a fair bit of money for because he's a young player, he's a young talent, a young prospect.
Back to the long term point I was trying to make is gets to January, Sunderland just lounging outside the playoffs.
Take that now.
Ellis Short, stick or twist. He could spend money then. He could get loan signings in then from Premier League clubs who.
To be fair, like
That's what excites me today. When I know Grayson's not exactly going to say, "Oh no, we're not going to sign anyone," but when he said, "Oh, better players have become available now," it's like he's got them lined up.
But that's also because it's
It'll be a loan though.
But it's the yeah. But at this point, you know,
I'll take
anything decent, anyone decent on loan is on loan. And I usually hate loans.
You know what? Even in terms of Premier League strikers, I'd test a Premier League club's resolve and I'd go for a Premier League forward.
Yeah, I see Leonardo Ajo's made a 360-degree turn.
Is he?
To get back to signing the contract at Leicester.
I thought you already signed it.
No, he signed one in the summer.
I was saying well he was
so
one.
He's staying then.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's not.
Yeah, I'm with you. Who I would go for. It wouldn't happen.
Is this who we were talking
but
about?
But
earlier?
somebody like both from the same team. Southampton, someone like Charlie Austin.
What about Troy
Shane Long?
They have just signed Andrea Gray. Don't need him.
I can't see Watford loaning. If we were going to go for Troy Deeney, we wouldn't want a permanent deal. We'd get a loan.
I agree with that.
I can't see Watford. I can't see how that would benefit Watford.
We would only get him. They would only sell him on a permanent.
Yeah, I can't
it's
see.
It's worth asking the question. Though.
Although to be fair,
Shane Long's the man I'd go for. Or Charlie Austin.
Well, there's a striker who's been made available from Chelsea who I would go for, but there's not a chance he'll drop down the Championship. Like Remy. Like Remy, I think. I would, but there's no way. You've got to remember, even if he was willing to, his weight, he'll be on an astounding amount of money at Chelsea.
I think
there's no way we're going to be able to solve that.
I do. I think he'll go to Newcastle.
Yeah, I think he will, and I think that'll be a good signing for them. To be fair, I think he's a Premier League striker. He probably was misused at Palace last year. But the point I was making.
See, that's who I think he'll go to.
Swansea.
No,
Newcastle.
Palace.
What, you think he'll go to Palace again?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I don't know. I can see.
I don't think they've got the money to spend unless Newcastle go from him on loan. I don't think they've got the money to spend.
Mind you,
I know they're a lot better financially in the green than us, but they're
people forget they spent 30 million.
They've got no. Actually, said the money's not there unless they sell players. They need to sell the buy.
Yeah, if they take them on loan though, Chelsea will pay most of that weight.
Hey, but let's not turn this.
Abramovich will not be.
Premier League's not our league. Let's just forget that. Premier League's overrated. Let's go back to the Championship.
Let's go back to home for the next 10 years.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the case. 10 years in the Championship. Good God.
And then 10 years in League One.
And then in League Two.
Well,
eventually,
as long as we keep Grayson, we're sorted.
Yeah, I forgot that. If we get Grayson, then we're going to be certainly get promoted back to the Championship. In all seriousness, I think that the finances. Yeah, I mean the money. I mean, do either of you? I mean, you probably won't know. Do either of you know really how the finances, like the parachute payments and the money we got from last season? How would we get that? Would we get it over the course of the season, or would we get it at the end of the season? Would we get it now?
I would assume that.
I think it's instalments.
I think the Premier League one would be paid all together.
Yeah.
And I think the parachute.
I mean, we know we're not going to see any of that. All of that's going to go towards the debt, which I don't have a problem with because you need to deal with it. But there comes a fine to me. I don't know what you two think. To me, there's a fine balance of, and I touched on this earlier. There's a fine balance of trying to stabilise and financially sort yourselves out to trying to get promoted.
Yeah,
there's got to be a balance in there somewhere.
Which is what I'm trying. I think that's the point I'm trying to make.
Sorry, we just kept interrupting, or I kept interrupting.
I agree with that.
It's the stabilisation and promotion factor. Which way do you go?
I don't see why we can't do. Yeah. Any other club will try and do both, but I can't see why we couldn't try and get promoted. But it's a massive ask. With our finances, it's a huge ask.
Mind you, to be fair, one point I would make is, and I think I said this back in the last season, I could tolerate Sunderland not going up this year, but there has to be something that makes me believe we're going in the right direction to get promoted.
Intense, I think,
I think we need to have. There needs to be something that suggests to me, okay, we're going in the right direction for next season. There has to be. What I worry about is if we go up this year before we're, truth be told, before we're probably ready. And I don't mean, if you looked at our current squad now, Catwalk Dong, maybe Kone possibly if he stays there. There's not many there that strike as Premier League quality, is there?
Maybe, but no.
So straight away, if you got up to the Premier League, it's a much tougher level. You've got players there that probably aren't Premier League. So the majority of them aren't Premier League standard, and you've got.
I think the only one
and with barely any money to spend, I'd worry seriously for next year if we got promoted.
I think the only one player we've signed this season, I think, is a Premier League player. I'm going to tip him for a big future, Browning.
Browning has looked composed, to be fair.
I think he's the only player that I think I get the perception from Browning is he's going to be a typical Sunderland player on loan. He's going to do really well here, and he's going to go back to Everton, and he's going to start for them next season.
He could be actually Williams. He could be actually Williams. Well, actually, Williams is aging, isn't he? So, but I mean, even when we were last in the Championship, the loan deals were probably. I wasn't into football then, but I imagine Ben will say, were the loan deals what pushed us over the line in the end?
Yeah, Johnny Evans. As much as I hear it,
his last time in the Championship.
Danny Simpson, yeah, he was excellent.
Keep forgetting we had him.
Is his last time in the Championship?
Yeah, 10 years ago with Keane. So I think
Johnny Evans was the big one. We stopped leaking goals.
Was he a long time? Was he?
Yeah,
of course he was. Yeah.
He would never have sold it to him, would he?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, Keane did try to sign Evans, didn't he? And Ferguson just wouldn't let him go for hell on earth, would he? Which is resulted in.
See, the thing is, when West Brom signed Evans, I said we should have gone for him. They got like 8 million.
Manchester City's been interested in Evans this year.
Yeah,
this transfer window.
Sorry, Pete, go on. What were you going to say?
You remember the last Championship campaign better than I do? Is Roy Keane's Championship team better than Grayson's Championship team?
Yeah, by far at the time.
You reckon?
It depends what you mean. Do you mean his team in the second half of the season or in the first half of the season?
Both, I think, are better than.
To be fair, like if you had that, you got to remember 10 years ago. The Championship, the Championship's not in terms of quality, but in terms of what's the one I'm looking for? Competitiveness has evolved massively since then. It's a much tougher division to get out of now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The teams are a lot more equipped to be, I think, better at signing players now.
You need squads in this league, and we haven't got a squad.
I think in the last time we were in the Championship, there was only 2 or 3 competing to go up. And funny enough, Cardiff took an early lead that year as well and then dropped off. So
Cardiff took an early lead and we got promoted. Yeah. Cardiff took an early lead this year. So
the next 6 days will decide our fate.
I think our fate for the first half of the season.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Till January.
To be fair, right, I think you've got to remember there's also... there's also a point where teams usually... If you're in the hunt for playoffs going into January... It could be a thing, right, okay, we've got this far with the squad we've got now. Now, I'm thinking really optimistically here, but imagine if then Short and Bain looked at it and said, right, come on, if we can get a couple of players in that will really make the difference, and say, even if I'll be deluded, say if we're really only less than 10 points off of top 2, you suddenly think, we could do it here.
All it takes is a good run of form.
It does, yeah.
All it takes is a good run of form.
But in fairness, we could easily do it. I don't know what you two think, but we could easily do it.
I think.
Right.
I'm at a crossroads because it like Pete says, it all depends, doesn't it?
Absolutely right. Top 2, absolutely no chance. Even it depends. Even if we're saying such and such, not a chance we'll be in the top 2 this season. No way. Even 6th is a massive ask, but that could be a possibility.
We could be in the playoffs tomorrow, though. To be fair,
it's only 5 games.
Yeah, it's 5 games, but if you get the points, it helps.
If we finish in the top 6, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'd snap your hand off for 6th. I really would, just to have a chance.
Also, to be fair, finishing in the top of the playoffs is only really worth it if you win the playoffs. But you just got to cross that bridge when you come to it, really.
Yeah.
It's a long season, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Well,
it's a very long season.
Like I said, that's the big concern, really.
Like you said, we're better away than we are at home at the moment.
Yeah, we definitely are.
So tomorrow, hopefully, is the...
Then we've got 2 home games in quick succession after the international break. We need to win them 2 at home.
I can see where Pete's coming from, though.
I agree. I think we'll struggle because we always struggle.
Sheffield United, I think, for example, Sheffield United especially is a team we should be beating fairly comfortably, but that's a game I think we'll struggle. I think they'll be defensive, but part of the bus and we'll struggle to break them down.
I think Forest will be the harder task.
I'll tell you what, mind you,
I think we'll be Sheffield.
Forest have beaten, if you class Borough in this, they've beat the 2 other big North East clubs. They beat Borough in the league and they've won at Newcastle in the Cup. And albeit, truth be told, they won at Newcastle with probably an arguably weaker team. They won with a reserve side. And as much as Newcastle didn't play a strong team, it still should have been good enough to beat Forest.
I say the priority at the minute is get the positive result tomorrow, no injuries, go into the international break, hopefully no one gets injured on, well, whoever's in international duty. I doubt there'll be many of them, probably O'Shea maybe and whatever. Yeah. But then hopefully stay where we need to stay. Hopefully come back and get the first couple of home wins.
I hope so, but it's easier said than done.
Well, I said, I think home's going to be vital this year, isn't it?
Well, that's going to be the key to how. We need to make our home form before.
Could be away this year in August.
I tell you, but
do you
know what? Last year, mind you, Newcastle, the year when Newcastle went down, I'll keep mentioning them all the time. I apologise, but Newcastle, the year they went down, their big problem was their away form. Last year, I think their fans were saying their away form was better than the home form.
You've got to mention them because that's what we should be able to try.
Comparison.
We've got to be trying to do what they've done last season. We're not going to, obviously.
But again, Huddersfield spent like what $4 million and they got promoted. Mm-hmm. So you can do it. You can do it. You can succeed in the Championship.
Football changes every day, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it changes just like that. But
to be fair, Newcastle were always going to go up last year because they're the best. I know money doesn't guarantee your players, but in general, you need to spend more money often these days to get a better
forward.
Yeah, to get a attackers cost ridiculous amounts of money. You saw what Neymar's gone for. You saw what Coutinho could go for. Morata's gone for, like Lukaku has gone for. But obviously, I'm not saying Sunderland are going to attract anywhere in the calibre of those players, but in more often than not, Pete said it in the past to us off air, you need to spend more money generally in order to attract better players, and especially in a region like ours where we need to give them more money to come here. It's a sad statement. It shouldn't be like that, in my opinion, but the sad statement is that it is. Although we should be a big attraction in this league. I'd say the biggest, but obviously not in terms of club status, but obviously we're not in a well enough shape in order to do that.
So I don't think it matters about the club anymore. I think it matters about the money that they're being offered.
It's all about money now.
I don't think the club plays a huge part in getting a player there now.
It's all about money.
It's all about money. It's all about what players are offered.
But what Pete said, to sort of try and wrap it up, on a more optimistic sort of note, what Pete said about what Grayson said, that the better players becoming available now. That's you're coming into the stage where people are going to start to be desperate to get rid of players, especially when you look
he doesn't mean like, Jack Colback's available on a free. Oh, you know what I mean?
That's the story. We'll sell Ndong and sign Jack Colback. There you go. And he's, I don't think Jack Colback would be a bad Championship player, truth be told, but he just doesn't have the legs that Ndong does. No. He's much more like...
And he doesn't pass forward, he only passes sideways and backwards as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he played for Newcastle.
My geez. Well, like I said, but they made him up for transfer, haven't they, though? But if they knew we were going in for him, they'd probably try and get as much money as possible.
I wouldn't go near Colback.
I wouldn't go near Colback, but I'm just saying I think you could sign worse.
I think, I think it'd be actually... Let's keep on the subject, and then I think it'd be worth a shout going for a few of their... Asking about the availability of a couple of their players. Because apparently they've got loads up for sale. I'd like to know who exactly is up for sale.
Well, I'll tell you what.
They're a Championship winning team at the end of the day, so I'd like to know.
To be fair, I think one of the players they sold, which I think we should have gone for, was Daryl Murphy.
Definitely.
Yeah,
and I'm not. To be fair, I know people could think we're joking. I'm not joking. I think Daryl Murphy went to Forest. What was it for $2 million?
Just over 2. I think $2 million. Yeah.
He was good 10 years ago in the Championship. I'm not so sure who would be for this.
I think he'd be an option.
Ben Dawson, forever the pessimist.
I know.
Realist.
Pessimist. Realist. Murphy would have been a good saying.
He's trying to emulate David Moyes.
Ben Dawson's word to the day.
Don't make me compare him.
Darren Murphy has already scored 3 or something, you said, didn't you?
No,
to be fair though,
I was talking about Waghorn.
Waghorn?
Yeah.
When did we go on the subject of Waghorn?
Me and Pete were talking the other day about Martin Waghorn.
He's done well for Ipswich, hasn't he?
And he's scored 3 and 4.
To be fair though, that could just be a good run of form.
Probably is.
I'd rather have that good run of form at Sunderland though.
That's where Vaughan comes in. If Vaughan scores 1, I think you'll.
I'm not convinced by, but I don't get.
I'm not convinced, but I think it's that type of striker. When he scores, he won't stop. But when he,
do you mean when he's on form, he's very good, but when he's off form, he's horrendous?
Yeah.
See, I don't buy into this notion that people say if he gets 1, he'll score loads.
But again, it's in the standard of play he's playing against is a lot higher than what it would have been in League One.
No, I agree with that, but that's where the question comes into. He shouldn't be starting. And the people who say
in the long run, not the chance.
The people who say he's got this in efforts and he tracks back and he makes tackles. Well, I think he's got 4 yellow cards this season when he's tracking back. I've probably seen him do it twice a game, but he hasn't scored any goals. To me, that just says no.
To me,
no, I'd rather have.
You know what I mean? I don't think he should be starting.
But at the
At
minute,
the moment,
I wouldn't start him tomorrow.
At the moment, he has
Who'd
to.
you start?
At the moment, well, it depends what formation you play. At the moment,
I'd
we've
play
got no
Gooch and
options.
Grabban up front.
Gooch and Grabban, that's a risk, like.
Yeah.
That is a risk.
I think we've got to take risks.
People are based that because Gooch has just done it against Carlisle. Carlisle on Barnsley.
Would you say Barnsley are miles better than Carlisle, though? And I'm going to say, even if Barnsley beat them tomorrow, if Barnsley, even if Barnsley beat us, though, it's going to be a case, they'll probably beat us because they want it more than us, if they do beat us.
To be fair, what I will say about this Sunderland team is, don't get me wrong, we're good in some areas, we're weak in others, but the team has got character.
It should be winning a majority of games, though, even against at least half of the teams in this league, it should be beating them.
The team's got a fight about them.
You know, as far as, I mean, Vaughan for me is a player. I mean, going on Vaughan very, very quickly is Vaughan is the type of player that for me would come off the bench, last 20 minutes, do the ugly side of the game for you. I don't see Vaughan as long run. I don't see Vaughan. I'll be pretty concerned for the whole season if he was our starting choice striker.
Just in terms of tomorrow, if you bring him off the bench, he'll have more space. And I think
especially if we're winning as well.
Yeah,
if we're winning, Barnsley can commit play.
He struggles with finding. Yes, but this is what I'm saying. He'll bring him on. He'll have more space to operate in.
Again,
more time.
He's the target man, no? I would be convinced.
No, but you got to remember though, like if Barnsley, I mean, our first goal at Norwich was goal kick. Vaughan wins the header, Grabban runs through and scores. If Barnsley are losing at a stage where Barnsley are losing, they're going to commit more players forward. That's where Vaughan can come into play. And
Pete says he's a target man. Why do we have to play with the target man? Why can we not play football?
Because we've tried to play football and
I think in this league against a team like Barnsley, I think we can. I think
actually, I agree with Ben that
we're better than Barnsley, but I don't think we're good enough to play the way you're asking. I think
to be honest, I don't care how we play, as long as we get results.
If you look at all the successful Sunderland teams over the years, they've all had target men.
To be fair,
but when you look at the more successful teams globally.
Oh yeah, but you're talking about like good football teams.
Are you trying want us to play the Huddersfield way of this season? Like,
but when you're looking at like teams like Bolton last season, they didn't have a target man.
That League One though.
Yes, but I'm just making the point of in the Football League.
I can see what you mean. I think you can get away with it more in the Football League than you can in the Premier League because the pace is slower and you get more space and the opposition.
I'm up for starting Gooch if he does it tomorrow. If he comes on and plays well tomorrow, and he comes on and plays well.
I don't think Grayson is doing himself any favours keeping the same 11 week in week out in the Championship.
No, I can understand why they're tired. Yeah,
but to be fair, they shouldn't be tired tomorrow though because most of them have had a full week to recover. So
yeah, then the international break. The international break is not the right time.
I'd like to see Grayson's different dynamic as well.
To be fair, where I will stick with Grayson is there's nothing on the bench for him to change though. There's nothing. I don't know. There's no one else good enough.
A couple of weeks ago, I'd have said Cashry, but now it looks like he's. I mean,
O'Shea and Gooch are probably the only two who could come in and out.
But even then, you can't rely on O'Shea to play like weekend, midweek.
But I say Watmore's coming back, McNair's coming back. You know. So.
I was going to say Rodwell's come. Never mind.
It's frustrating.
The people who are coming back that are going to make a difference is McNair, Watmore, and Madger.
Be interested to see if McNair starts when he comes back.
They're the three.
I think all
three of them could do all right in this league.
I think Madger really part to play.
And I actually think Vaughan would benefit from Watmore being on the wing. Because he'd do the work.
Watmore would do the legwork, and he'd be blistering down the side.
I think Watmore would be good up front with Vaughan. Yeah, Watmore's been really good for England under 21s.
Play grabbing out wide, play 3 up front.
If you're going by the logic that Ben's trying to go with and try and play football, I think those two would work. If you're trying to do the direct sort of style, you couldn't play the two of them because neither of them at all.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, because you talked about playing football. If you look at certain players in our team, like out from the back, I mean, the amount of players that give it away, like on the ball, Coney on the ball, not great. Jones on the ball, not great. Oviedo, he's all right. And then you got Catmull gives the ball away all the time. And Don gives the ball away all the time.
But something I've noticed, Sunderland are not good at winning the second ball. As a manager, I couldn't give a hoot about winning that first ball.
I thought you were going to swear there.
I'm not that bad yet. So when we're launching the ball forward, it doesn't matter if Vaughan wins it. It's all about winning the second ball. Yeah. Sunderland don't do enough of that in the midfield. Even when Catmull's playing, they don't do enough of it.
The focus at the minute is just beating Barnsley.
And then hopefully having a good...
And then turn the attention to we need him, and him.
Like I said,
we need a ball winner in the middle of the park. We haven't got one.
Barry.
This is going to...
Catmull isn't a ball winner.
No,
he's not.
In fairness, right, I think... And this is going to sound like a big comparison here. Do you mean like a top 6 championship version of, say, Sigurdsson, for example? like a player of that standard who maybe isn't like, you know what I mean, like someone who gets us a few yards higher up the pitch and gets us more aggressive.
Someone who's
box to box.
I'm not saying guys are going to sign Sigurdsson, by the way.
Someone who's a step ahead of other players.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from.
Because the ball drops.
The ball drops in some
area. You mean someone who reads the game well?
Yes.
Do you mean like reaction time a bit quicker as well?
Reaction time and reading.
So you're talking about like defensive midfielder then?
Yeah. I'm talking about just a Lorik Sana. Because he always used to be one step ahead. He always used to win them second balls. You know, like
I think in patches. I think in patches we
I'm not asking saying it here, but are you talking about someone like Fellaini?
Like I suppose so. Yeah, because he always reads the ball quite well.
I don't really know who's.
I think he does. Yeah.
In fairness, right? In patches, in games, our players do that. But you want them to do it consistently when they're going to.
I don't think Cattermole's quick enough. To read the game.
I love Cattermole a bit, but I don't think he is.
That's Sunderland's biggest problem. They've got no speed.
I think that's a championship-wide thing, though, isn't it? Watching the game tonight, I think both teams are slow.
I think the Bristol City Villa game we watched.
That's where it gives you hope, doesn't it? I mean, Villa are apparently one of the best teams in this league.
I mean, you guys remember, if you listen to the podcast during the week, me and Ben sort of had a minor disagreement on like which teams were like in terms of full strength, like starting 11s, which are better than Sunderland. And if you base it purely off, that could be one bad game Villa had where they didn't play at their potential. To be fair, but if you watch that game, you think, is there really that much in this league?
No, there's not. But where it matters most, we don't have. That's where I worry about.
Oh yeah, it's a fair comment.
Like, to win the championship, you need a 20-goal a season striker we ain't got. You need a solid keeper, to be fair, we don't know if we've got yet. And you need a good understanding between your two centre-backs, and we can't keep a clean sheet to save our life.
I just worry we have too many off days, far too many off days compared to what other teams do.
I will be fair to Sunderland though.
You probably disagree massively with this, even though it is the championship. We've got a lot more quality than a lot of teams, but we haven't got enough quality to warrant a promotion push. Nowhere near it.
Not this
playoffs. Nah, not even playoffs. Not yet.
If you're talking promotion push top 2, yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm on about all 6 at the minute.
Well,
at the minute. That can change by next Thursday.
See, I think with the right application, I think we'd be near the top 6.
It goes a long way.
If you're talking McCormack, right, we'll make this last point. I've gone on quite a bit. I said that about 10 minutes ago, Mike, and nothing's happened, so I'm terrible at closing.
Yeah, so I'm saying McCormack in the last 10 minutes.
Oh, I know, if only. If transfers happen that quick, Christ. Anyway, but McCormack, though, I mean, you ignore the season he had at Villa last year. Maybe it's just that players work at certain
Well, you can't ignore it, I suppose, can you?
Well, you can't,
it did happen,
but at the same time, you also can't ignore what he's done the years before. He's been exceptional.
I just hope he doesn't get stuck in this bloody gate again.
Yes, I remember that. But, final question. If McCormack, say the last question then, if Khazri was to leave and McCormack signed and no other business happened, how confident would you be ahead of the season?
Semi-confident, because we've got a goal scorer.
That's providing, by the way, that these players stay fit.
Semi-confident.
I'd be reasonably confident.
I think the highest would finish is 6th. With
fifth, I think, is the highest because I usually between 5th and 8th and 10th, there's like less than 10 points separating them.
If we get McCormack, 8th for me.
8th?
Yeah.
Surprised by that. I think it would be a bit higher.
That's why I said Sunderland would finish with the team we've got now. Yeah.
Well, the team we've got right now is where we are now, I think.
I will stick up for Ben for here because we labelled Ben as the eternal pessimist, yet he's got Sunderland finishing higher than Pete has.
Crazy, isn't it? I'm more optimistic than Ben, but I think we'll finish lower.
You're probably the most optimistic out of the three of us.
But I think we'll finish lower. I think we'll both.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Maybe it depends how much you rate the rest of the league. Right, guys, look, well, thanks for listening / watching, even though you're not going to be seeing any of it, but no, this was fun. Just nice roll.
I couldn't see it. It's I only put us that low. It's just in the positions where it matters the most. We're not good. We're not strong enough. Like, yeah, we're good in the middle of the park and all that, but we haven't got a goal scorer yet, and we haven't got back forward concede too many goals. And we've got a keeper who, no offence,
is shit.
Yeah, and I know Rutier is good, but he's not playing him at the minute. He's playing Steele, so you can only look at him, can't you?
You never know. Well, as of now, depends what happens against.
Well, tomorrow might be different.
Get 3 points tomorrow, and then focus on getting the right players in to help. Hopefully, hit that playoff push.
Right, well, guys, then we'll leave you to it. How are the lads for Barnsley tomorrow / today, whenever you're listening? Yeah. Fingers crossed we do well. Who wants to close it out this time?
Go on, please. I'll let you do it.
And hope West Ham get 3 points, by the way. We have to have a dig in there.
Well, no, I just rely on Aidan McGeady. I just rely on
because he runs down the wing for you.
Yeah.
See you later, lads. Bye-bye.